I set up my YouTube channel to do something nobody else was doing at the time, and to show people how easy it is to both repair and maintain their bikes themselves, and also to prove that you don't need an expensive sponsored wall of blue handle beauties in order to do so. So with that great cause in mind, in this video I'm going to share with you 10 of my favourite workshop specific tools that come in at under £50. First up, the disc caliper spacing shim. One of the frustrations of running disc brakes is getting the calipers and the rotors perfectly spaced so that they don't rub.
Don't know if you can hear that.
This little tool will do that job for you in seconds, and when you take into consideration it costs roughly the same price as a cappuccino, it's a no-brainer. If you're running disc brakes, you need one of these in your life. Next up, the internal routing kit. Routing cables and hoses through internally routed frames can be a complete nightmare. If you have this tool, that job then becomes a 2-minute walk in the park. Every time I use this kit, I think to myself, I am so pleased I have it. So, if you have an internally routed frame, get yourself one of these, you will never regret it. All of the tools in this video are linked below. Those links are affiliate links. You pay the same price, but the channel gets a tiny kickback for it, and we use that to buy more tools to share with you and show you how you use them. The chain whip and cassette removal tool. Yes, technically they're two tools, but you always use them together. The best upgrade you can give your drivetrain is a good clean, and the best way to clean your cassette is to remove it, and the only way you can remove it is with these two tools. Extremely simple to use, very cheap, and a must-have for any budding bike mechanic. The Park Tool CC4 chain wear indicator. Chains, in the grand scheme of things, are relatively cheap, as are the tools to check them. But with chain rings coming in excess of £100 and some cassettes costing over £300, letting your chain wear out can be very expensive. Now, your chain will wear out, and if you don't stay on top of it, it will cost you a lot of money. Now, there is an argument to say that these cheap and cheerful stamped out wear indicators aren't very effective on 11 and 12 speed chains. The Park Tool CC4 is an accurate laser cut tool. The Prestacycle 3-way Y bit tool. If you look at your bike, the vast majority of the fixings will be hex or Allen, and out of those fixings, most of them will be one of 3 sizes. That is what is making this type of tool very popular nowadays. But like most of the stuff in the Prestacycle range, it's been designed for cyclists by cyclists, so it sort of goes a little bit above and beyond. First of all, these heads are interchangeable, so you can set this tool up to your specific bike's requirements. Additionally, those heads don't just very easily come off when you're using them. You've got to pull these magnets back, and then you can very easily change the heads out, even with greasy gloved hands. Those shafts are hardened stainless steel, so they're going to last a very long time and take a punishment. It's just one of those tools that you feel it and you hold it in your hand and you think, that's a nice thing. The Topeak D2 digital smart tyre pressure gauge. It's a fantastic little bit of kit for the money. Getting the tyre pressures just so on your bike plays a massive part on how it feels and performs out on the road. And this little gadget will do exactly that. And it has a little lever on the top that allows you to switch it between Presta and Schrader valves, and it even has a little air release button on the side that lets you fine tune those pressures. It's an amazing bit of kit for the money. Now this one I use all the time. The Park Tool GG1 grease gun. Now, applying small, delicate amounts of grease to a little location can be very hit and miss using the tube, but The Park Tool GG1 grease gun allows you to do just that. It's great for like bearing cups and stuff like that. And also, if you don't want to use it with its own canister, you can attach it straight onto the top of the tube. Brilliant bit of kit. Use it all the time. This next tool is one of my favourites, and it's one of my favourites because of what it does for me. And this is it here, the blind bearing puller set. Now, modern wheels, like this one here, for example, this is a lightweight, delicate, precision-made wheel. It's built to like within tolerances of like 1/10 of a millimetre. So, from my personal experience, extracting the bearings from that by whacking it with a big hammer like that, sounds lovely that, doesn't it? It's not best practice. I find it's much more civilised to slowly and carefully and evenly draw that bearing out. And in the vast majority of cases, that can be done using this tool, the blind bearing puller set. Now, if you would like to see how I use that, I will link it down below, and I'll tell you what I'll also do, I'll make it one of those clickable thumbnails at the end so you can watch that video yourself. Now, regular viewers of my channel will see me using this tool a lot in my maintenance videos, and it's the Prestacycle T-handled ratchet set. Now, it's just another example of Prestacycle going that bit further with their tools. So not only do you get a workshop quality small ratchet, you can hear that clicking, just a slight movement of the ratchet and it engages. It's a very nice, accurate ratchet. But not only do you get that you can use in the standard way, like you just put a bit on it like that and there you go, you've got your standard ratchet, but they also have gone and given it a bit more thought and included this bar. So unsurprisingly, you get that bar and you put it on, and you can now use that as an extension and to get into those awkward places. But you then just line it up and then push it all the way through, and that extension bar now becomes a T-handle. So you've now got a T-handle, and you can just put your bits in the back of the ratchet like that, and you've now got a T-handled hex bit. But you can then take it to the next level where you remove that and put it into the back, and what you've now got is an extension of the ratchet for even more leverage. It's just another example of Prestacycle just doing something a little bit clever. And yeah, I use it a lot, and I use it a lot because it's very good. Now, there are loads of videos on YouTube that show you hacks as to how you press bearings back into your wheels. I wouldn't bother, most of them are clickbait. Can you imagine turning up at your local bike shop and the mechanic pulls this thing out and starts squashing your hub with it? You'd just grab your bike and your £1,000 wheels and you'd run a mile, wouldn't you? Now, the correct way of doing this job is you need to use a tool like this, which is called a bearing press set. There you go. It's a lovely thing, isn't it? Now, people assume that you've got to go to the purveyor of blue handle beauties and part with roughly £400 for a set like this. It's just not the case. This tool here, which is more than adequate for your budding home mechanic, costs roughly £45, which is roughly what a bike mechanic would charge you for an hour's labour. Now, if you'd like to see me using this set, I'll be using it in that video I link at the end. So there you go, 10 tools that come in at £50 or less. Who'd have thought it? This list was originally 18 tools long, but I hacked it. So if you like this content and you want me to do another one, I've got another list sat there waiting to do. And I was also thinking about tools that I bought that I thought would be good, but turned out to not be very good. There's one there, look. I could do that video if you fancy that. So if you like that idea, stick a comment below. Anyway, I'm babbling on. That video where I use the bearing tools is that video up there. Or alternatively, if you want to watch a video about a 14-speed wireless gravel group set, it's that video down there. Thanks for watching.